If you spend any amount of time on GunTube or in online gun communities, you know that the consumer trend cycle never ends, and people spend way too much money buying into the latest trends or buying branded gear. Luckily, surplus also exists. So if you're the average LARPer on a budget looking for a chest rig that's dependable and that'll help you carry a ton of shit, the TAPS rig still remains one of the best options, even 15 years after its original release. So what is the TAPS? The Tactical Assault Panel was first designed in 2008 to replace the American military's Fighting Load Carrier Vest as a more modular alternative. It's been in service since around 2010, and during that time has become one of the cheapest and best budget options for chest rigs in the civilian market. So today we're going to be going over the basic features of the TAPS, as well as some of the most common and cheap upgrades and modifications you can do to modernize and just improve on the TAPS design. The TAPS has many built-in features, including 6 magazine slots, 2 massive radio pouches on either end of the rig, and 3 large mesh pockets on the back side that presses against your chest, with enough space for a laminated map and other flat objects. Now, this alone could probably suffice for most people on the range, but the most popular feature of the TAPS is the fact that it has a full surface of molle webbing, which means near infinite customization, and a pretty significant number of pouches are able to be stored on the front on the molle webbing. This massive surface of molle means you can kit it out with enough pouches to basically carry everything but your rifle. And that means when you're wearing this, you're either going to be looking like an infantry LARPer or like a highly prepared insurgent. Now, I'd be lying if I said the TAPS was the most modern or comfortable chest rig out of the box. So next, we're going to be talking about 2 of the most common and inexpensive upgrades you can do to negate some of the more dated aspects of the TAPS rig. So the most popular upgrade to the TAPS is to simply change out the default Y harness for a more modern H harness and a back strap. So as you can see here, the TAPS rig comes with 2 buckles at the very top, and then 1 buckle on the left side and 1 buckle on the right side. Now, most modern chest rigs actually have 2 attachment points on the left and 2 attachment points on the right, and this, as you can see, just has 1. So adding an H harness is as simple as taking 2 1-inch split bar buckles and attaching them to each of the wings of the TAPS rig. As you can see, this is a very simple process that just requires you to slide the split bar buckles onto the corner molle slots on either end of the TAPS rig. And what this does is it allows the H harness to shift the weight of the TAPS rig more evenly across the body, and also just allows the TAPS rig to adhere more securely and comfortably to the body in general. And then you just clip in the top buckles, the 2 side buckles, and then the back strap on the back of the TAPS rig, and you have yourself a new harness setup. The second upgrade is to the magazine slots, and that's because no one likes using the Velcro flaps that come with them. So most people do one of 2 things. Firstly, you can just take the flaps themselves and fold them into the pouch, and then just take a Kiwi or a Kydex tall insert and just throw it in there. And that is just going to make it much easier to remove and re-index the magazines, instead of having to use the pretty poorly designed and awful flaps. Now, this is the more expensive of the 2 possible ways of dealing with these mag pouches, because the Kiwi inserts are $7 each, times 4 or times 6, and that can be quite a lot for a budget chest rig. But from everything I've seen, no one has complained about the inserts being pulled out, and it's also just a very popular modification or upgrade to the TAPS rig. So the second way to upgrade the mag pouches is to use a bungee retention system like the one here, where you have these little tabs and then bungee cable. And this is very easy. It costs about $7 from unobtainium, but you can easily make it yourself with leftover materials. And what you do is feed the bungee through the front molle panel, put it through this little tab, and then you just tie it on the molle panel above and behind the magazine on the other side like so. Now, some people will grommet the other pouches to be able to use more bungee or to use tie downs, but the harness and the mag pouch upgrades are generally the most common and the most important. And in the end, the TAPS rig is a fun project with a lot of utility, but you have to put in some work to make it work for you. It can certainly be fine as is, but its main draw, aside from its price tag, is its customizability and large carrying capacity. I won't go into use cases because I feel like the TAPS is essentially universally useful, especially if you're using it in conjunction with something like a pack. Perhaps the only downside to using the TAPS for some people will be the fact that it's obviously not intended to be comfortable when being prone for hours at a time. Not including the pouches on the screen, my TAPS setup ended up being around $55. With the TAPS I got on eBay for about $20. The H harness was about $20-$25. The bungee system was $7, and the extra buckles were about $5. So in the end, this is what my TAPS rig looks like. As you can see, I have kind of a random assortment of pouches with an OCP canteen pouch on the side, a British Desert DPM pouch here that has a drawstring enclosure and light padding. This I use for things like my rangefinder or even food. And moving on, I have this Chinesium GP pouch that I just kind of hold miscellaneous stuff in. And then I have this pouch that holds 2 30-round AR mags or stuff like small Nalgene bottles. And then of course the bungee system up here with 4 magazines. And the H harness from the front and the rear. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been a simple TAPS video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.